I'm happy to chair the meeting.
I'll open the Planning Authority Committee for the City of Hobart on the 25th of June. Our usual chair isn't available tonight, and I call on the elected members to present to elect a chair for this evening.
I nominate Councillor Basalt.
Put that to...
All those in favour? Aye. All those against? Okay, declare that carried.
That's not the current. I've got one today.
Yeah,
I'll just in the agenda. Yeah, that's fine. But the documents that we've got are
The 25th, there was no meeting on the 9th of July.
copy. Yeah.
The organiser is from the Jewish Ecological Conference. I'm thinking organising this massive flying thing that people could easily zoom into.
You know, like whereas if it's a sort of a multicultural city.
All right, I'll just call the room to order. It's 4:11 on the 23rd of July, opening the City of Hobart's Planning Committee. Just noting that we have an apology from the Deputy Lord Mayor and a leave of absence from Councillor Dutta, and acknowledging elected members in the room: Alderman Zuko, Councillor Kitsos, Councillor Lohberger, Alderman Bloomfield, the Lord Mayor and Councillor Harvey. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Palawa and the Muwinina people, and note that in a planning committee we are planning development on the land that was theirs, and we have a responsibility as part of our duties to care for the land and environment, as they did for 60,000 years before us, and would always note that there's environmental commentary within our planning reports that we take heed of. If I can have somebody to move the confirmation of minutes from the 25th of June. So moved. All those in favour? Aye. Carried unanimously. Consideration of supplementary items. Are there any? There are none. Indications of conflicts of interest. Are there any conflicts of interest that anyone wishes to declare? There are none. There's only one item, so we won't transfer any agenda items. And we'll move on to item 6, Planning Authority items, consideration of items with deputations. There are none with deputations. So item 7, committee acting as a planning authority. Councillor Harvey?
Were you getting up? No.
Harvey.
Look, I'm happy to move the item as much as I don't like car parks, but I guess it is what it is. It's a 106 lot car park for that business there for Toyota. I assume to park cars, both their stock and to park cars being serviced, I imagine, as well. And if they need that space to, for their business to operate, then so be it. I do note it's quite close to several heritage houses, but there's been no representations against this. So I'll be supporting it tonight by voting for the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Harvey. So that's Councillor Harvey moving item 7.1.1, 267 Argyle Street, North Hobart, partial demolition and new building for vehicle parking. Is there any further contributions from elected members? Lord Mayor?
I'm just wondering why it's come to us.
Through Chair, it's due to the height of the proposal. This is technically a major development due to the size.
So it's a multi-storey car park?
Correct.
So that's not for the purposes of the car yard business, is it?
Through Chair, yes, it is for the sole purpose of the existing operation on site. It's not for public use.
The car park proposed is stated as being used for the operations of Toyota, including the storage of unregistered vehicles prior to sale, as well as storage of customer cars while awaiting service. And it's a 3-storey car park. It's 10.7 metres tall, I think, which is 3 metres taller than the existing building on site. There is a condition for landscaping on Campbell Street, which currently does not exist, but there is some small existing landscaping on Argyle Street. Any further contributions or questions from elected members?
Just, you
Lord
know,
Mayor.
I guess this, I mean, when are we going to change our planning scheme to start implementing our Central Hobart Plan? Because this is heading in completely the opposite direction of what our strategic plan envisages for that part of the world.
Through you, Chair, that we are about to move to the Tasmanian planning scheme, most likely by the end of July, and we are currently working on amendments to the Tasmanian planning scheme to implement the Central Hobart plan. That's I can't give you the exact timing on that, but hopefully within a few months we'll have some further clarity about where we're heading with those provisions. We're certainly hoping that those provisions will be, that amendment process will take about 18 months. So it's a slow process involving the Commission, but we are actively working on it at the moment.
And how will we basically discourage expansion of car storage in the precinct through planning scheme amendments?
Through you, Chair, I'd have to refresh my memory of those that tactic, so I'll take that one on notice.
Anything further, elected members? No. I'll just say a few words. Like the Lord Mayor, I'm very disappointed that this application is in front of us. Although we are acting in the capacity as planning authority this evening, it would be remiss of me not to mention that this could have been housing, that we could have had 3 stories of housing, walking distance to the CBD, and instead we have a multi-storey car park that will serve the public naught. It is only for the storage of customer cars and unregistered cars, and I question the land use planning that allows for the storage of unregistered cars in a multi-storey car park in the CBD of the capital city. It's pretty outrageous. It should be homes, it should be housing for the people that live here, and it's not. And we need to do better as a council to push through that agenda much more promptly to prevent more of this happening in the future. But with our hats on as the planning authority this evening, and with my planning authority hat on, this development application meets the scheme, and so I feel obliged to support it despite my opposition to it. Alderman
For
Zulko.
the director, is this privately owned land or is this publicly owned land? Thank you.
So without any further debates, Alderman
I'd just
Bloomfield?
like to point out that this is actually a central business district, so therefore encouraging businesses to operate as they so choose legally and lawfully would be of totally appropriate use, despite our personal opinions. Thank you.
Without further debate, I'd like to put the item. All those in favour? All those against? Carried unanimously. Moving through to item 8, reports. 8.1, the planning advertising report. If I can have someone to move that.
I had a couple of questions, Chair.
Councillor Lohberger.
Just about there's a development at 65 Brisbane Street. I just want to check it's not the old hall we're talking about there, but it's actually the building up behind it. So,
through you, Chair, that's for the vacant land. I think it's currently Hardstand Car Park on the site. So, yeah, essentially to the front of the site on Brisbane Street.
So there's a building at the back there that's like a taekwondo. It's quite a modern building, and the car parking for that.
Yeah, there will be no change to anything at the rear, or if anything, more formalisation of the existing parking arrangements. But the development will be concentrated at the front of the site.
I also had a question about 156 Newtown Road, about the signage that's gone up. I'm just wondering what it is, given that that's quite a controversial.
Through you, Chair, there's 3 or 4 signs on the earlier approved building, which I believe is currently under construction. One of those is illuminated, which is facing onto Newtown Road, and the others are smaller, non-illuminated signs on various points of the building.
And the final question just from this section is just 140 Liverpool Street. There's a new gymnasium going in. The site's sort of two-storey there. It's a bit hard to tell where it is. I think downstairs is an old tea shop or something like that, and then upstairs is a nightclub.
Yep, through your chair, it's on the ground floor.
Right, okay, fantastic. Thank you, Chair.
So can I just
Lord Mayor.
follow up on that 65 Brisbane Street? So is that something on that whole big car park area?
Through your chair, yes, the building will be at the narrower end that's meeting Brisbane Street. The areas towards the back, which are car parking, and I think there's a standalone house or a building, that's essentially to remain untouched.
Just explain briefly what it is, what's proposed there.
I believe it's a five-storey multi-use building, so offices on stories 2 and 3, stories 4 and 5 will be residential, and then the ground floor a services and a mixed-use tenancy.
And has that been to our urban design panel?
Yes, it has.
So when that comes through, we'll get their report on.
Yes, that'll be included.
If I can have somebody to move the item. Thank you, Councillor Lohberger, got a promotion. All those in favour?
Aye.
No, against? Carried unanimously. 8.2 delegated decisions report planning. If I can have someone to move it, or is there any questions? Councillor Lohberger.
I just had one question on this one, just regarding 63 Goulburn Street, which is a fairly infamous building near where I've spent the last 5 years working. It's a series of flats that have sort of been added onto the side of an old heritage building on the top side of Goulburn Street. I just sort of just wanted some information about what's going on there. I'm just aware there's been some really significant problems with sewerage issues there. There was a death in a fire there not that long ago. I'm just wondering what they're doing.
Through your chair, I believe there was prompted by that fire incident. It's just, my understanding was a reconfiguration of some of the dwellings there, either to provide individual kitchens and bathrooms and etc. for the existing units, and to more formalise some other arrangements, as well as include a new laundry. But yeah, essentially formalising the existing uses that had been going on there in those arrangements there.
Was there any plumbing work, or have they already fixed all of that?
Not certain on that. There might have been some with the bathroom arrangements there, but
Yeah, no, given the problems they had with pump trucks and guys in hazmat suits out there regularly, it sounds like they've fixed that. Yes, it's not part of this. Right, thank you, Chair.
Have somebody to move the item, please. Councillor Lohberger. All those in favour?
Aye.
Carried unanimously. Moving on to item 9, responses to questions without notice. If I can have somebody to move those, please. Lord Mayor, all those in favour? And against? Carried unanimously. Item 10, questions without notice. Are there any questions without notice this evening? Councillor Kitsos.
Thank you, Chair. Just wondering if the City is going to do any active compliance to make sure all the election signs are down in accordance with the planning scheme?
Through Chair, yes.
Great, thank you.
Councillor Lohberger.
Prompts a question from me. We heard at our recent workshop that we've invoiced the Labor Party for the cost of removing some of their signs. I guess I'm just interested in what happens if the Labor Party doesn't respond to us at all. What's the next step?
Through you, Chair, just to clarify, we don't have the mechanism to invoice.
Okay.
As I understand it, there has been a request to compensate us for the costs that were incurred by having to carry out cleaning on our assets. Sorry, I've forgotten the question that you asked.
Just if they don't respond to our request for compensation, is there any further step that we can take?
Through you, Chair. There is a mechanism for breaching our bylaw. I understand the view we have is that there was a breach and that there could potentially be issued under the bylaw. Whether that would equate to the compensation, I'm not sure.
Lord Mayor.
Yes, I may have already asked this, so please disregard it if I've already asked it, because sometimes I forget whether I've asked it. So it's around 2016, Council introduced a reform to improve public signage and also website promotion for more significant public interest development activities. Have I asked this?
Yes.
Oh, and you've answered it? Oh, okay, good. And so that outlines the current procedure of what we do?
Through you, Chair. So we do the extra signage for the major
But
proposals.
the answer you've given me has got all that in it. I just don't always see all the responses. So was that a couple of months ago? I can't remember.
I think so.
All right, I'll go
Lost
look
track
for
of
it.
time.
Yeah, and I'll cross that off my list. It's been asked. Great.
Anything further from the floor? Questions? No, I have a couple. As part of the TPS that's due to come in shortly, is there any changes to parking minimums, noting the report that we've looked at tonight, which had a fairly ridiculous assessment of parking minimums for a car park? Is there any changes coming?
Thank you, Chair. I would have to take that on notice to give you a full and proper response.
Thank you, Director. Second question, can the Director please outline what actions are available to the Council to prohibit prospectively undesirable uses consistent with our strategic planning approach?
The planning scheme sets out the circumstances in which somebody needs a permit or whether a use is prohibited. So if
So how can we change it?
we would need to do an amendment to the planning scheme.
If we can have as a council that outlines to us how the mechanism, that would be helpful in response to the question. And the final question, just relating to Councillor Lohberger's commentary on signage, are there any limitations within our planning scheme or the incoming TPS on lumens or candles of LED signs that's a standard? Good. Nothing further. So I'll move to close the meeting. If I can have someone to move that, please.
Moved.
Councillor Harvey, all those in favour?